Hello, I am Kurt Hill and welcome to our World Cup special. World Cup fever is taking over Winchester as the tournament is well underway, and there have already been plenty of surprises and controversies. Ecuador opened the tournament beating host Qatar 2-0. England put 6 past Iran in their 6-2 win. The Netherlands managed to squeeze 2 past Senegal, and Wales held USA to a 1-1 stalemate. Earlier today, Saudi Arabia also shocked tournament's favourite Argentina with a 2-1 win. Owen Noon is here to tell us a bit more about what's happened so far.
With the World Cup now in full swing, we can only expect injuries to come thick and fast. But not many people expected there to be some big injury calls before the first ball had even been kicked. Senegal were without their star talisman Sadio Mane after he picked up a knee injury for Bayern Munich that he was unable to recover from. Senegal lost that game 2-0 against the Netherlands, a scoreline that may have been different with that extra bit of firepower. Karim Benzema has also been ruled out of the tournament for France after picking up a thigh injury in his first training session out in Qatar. Benzema will be the first Ballon d'Or winner to not play in the World Cup for 44 years. France will now have to re-evaluate their strike options ahead of their game against Australia later tonight. There has also been a lot of controversy regarding the World Cup both on and off the pitch. A big talking point has been that of the captain's armband, with England, Wales and a handful of European nations backing away from wearing the One Love armbands. Ex-England international Alex Scott was seen presenting on the touchline wearing the exact armband Harry Kane and Gareth Bale wouldn't be wearing. Alex has received nothing but praise on social media following a brave stand against FIFA. And finally, Jack Grealish has been making the headlines after England's emphatic 6-2 win over Iran yesterday afternoon. Grealish scored England's 6th goal of the game, being one of 5 different goal scorers for the night. After scoring, Grealish celebrated by keeping a promise he made to a young fan back at home. Jack met Finley, a Manchester City fan with cerebral palsy, and said that the next time he scored, he'd do Finley's celebration just for him.
This.
You want to do this?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that for you, all right?
All right.
I promise. But remember, I've got to score though.
Next time
I score, yeah? All right then, I'll do that for you.
It just happens to be that Grealish's next goal was his first in the World Cup, of what England fans hope to be many.
Harry Turberfield was there to catch the reactions of fans and staff in pubs.
World Cup fever has gripped the nation once again, with pubs preparing for the hundreds of fans that will be lining the streets of Winchester to support England and their journey in the World Cup. The Exchange was a hot spot for footy fans in the city yesterday, with all tables rammed with supporters who were arriving as early as 11 a.m. The atmosphere was electric, and it wasn't long before the Three Lions had the Winchester locals in raptures.
Yeah, it was a good start to World Cup, but then again, it's only our round we're playing, but yeah, 6-2, good result, yeah.
Brilliant, England were class, feeling a lot more positive in the World Cup. Don't know if we'll win, but go far, can't be sick, good things, that's it.
The 2022 World Cup is well and truly underway in Qatar. This pub is much quieter than it was yesterday for England's 6-2 win over Iran in their first game of the competition, where pubs across Winchester opened their doors early for the Three Lions for the first time since the heartbreak of the Euros. The fans were loving it, but how did the bar staff feel in the opening game?
When it gets too busy, it gets really stressful. But I feel like behind the bar we were all quite good at.
We did open earlier as well.
Yeah,
we normally open at 12, but what time do we open?
We started letting people in at like 22.
The clean-up operation will be similar for all pubs today in Winchester, and judging by the celebrations, will be a common theme for this World Cup. Harry Turberfield, Winchester News Online.
University of Winchester lecturer Angus Scott has presented all over the world during his career in broadcasting, and Harry Ridwin-Jones caught up with him to find out about his latest venture.
ITV's broadcasting team in Qatar for this year's World Cup. I caught up with him earlier today to find out his thoughts on the experience so far.
Well, we're day 3 of the tournament now, and the atmosphere really is building. It was very quiet to get going, and if you were downtown in Qatar, in Doha, then you wouldn't know there was a World Cup going on. Plenty of banners around, but not many people. But as soon as the tournament has started, then the people have suddenly come out of the woodwork. And today it's just full of Saudis and Argentines who are here to watch Messi and their opening games of this World Cup.
The hosts have never taken part in a World Cup before, so I wanted to find out from Angus how locals have reacted to their nation playing in the competition for the first time ever.
Well, there was a phenomenal atmosphere at the Al Bayt Stadium for the opening ceremony and the opening match. I think a tenth of the whole population of Qatar, all the Qataris, went to that game. So it's about 30-odd thousand locals. There are only 300,000 locals here, but 30,000 went. So if you think, you equate that to England or Great Britain, that's like 6 million people going to watch a game of football. So they were super proud that after 12 years that it was finally happened. The Emir was there, the amazing opening ceremony, and that they would be able to support their nation.
Angus has covered a number of major different sporting events in the past and described how he has found it so far reporting on one of the biggest events of them all.
The joy of this event is that I was here for 7 years, so I really know the lie of the land. But when you look at where the stadiums are, there are 6 inside Doha. There's one up north, Al Bayt, which is the opening ceremony, and one down south, Al Janoub. But the other 6 are around here. This is the World Cup final stadium, and it's massive. It is Lusail. It's a huge stadium, 80,000 seater, built specially for this. And it's just a privilege to be part of this. I'm very lucky that I get one of these. I get one of these lanyards that gets me into any ground at any time, so I can go and see all the matches. So as a sports reporter and a presenter, then this has got to be the highlight of your career. So I have to say I'm quite enjoying it, but missing you at the same time.
With the World Cup now in full swing, our reporter Harry Jewell decided to take a look at the controversies surrounding the Qatar World Cup and other examples of sport washing.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup is on the horizon, 4 years after France lifted the Jules Murray Trophy in Moscow. However, it hasn't been a smooth ride to Qatar, with the 22nd World Cup mired in numerous controversies. A recent survey conducted by The Guardian found that 6 out of 10 people are against Qatar hosting the World Cup over its homophobic legislation. Only 43% of people thought England and Wales should take part at all.
Many have linked the Qatar World Cup with sports washing, a term associated with regimes attempting to gloss over previous wrongdoings. Recently, the term has been linked with the Qatar Grand Prix, the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, the Saudi Fund Live Golf Tournament, and the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
With the Qatari World Cup well underway, broadcasters have descended on Doha. The 2 main broadcasters from the UK, ITV and the BBC, are sharing the matches. I spoke to sports reporter Angus Scott, who is in Qatar with ITV.
Well, sports watching is actually nothing new. You go back to the 1936 Berlin Olympics, and Hitler was using it for credibility for his Nazi party. Obviously, things have taken a very different turn since then, and we look at it more as what some of the Middle Eastern countries are doing. We've seen the huge investment from the Saudi investment companies into Newcastle with their sovereign fund. Also what Abu Dhabi have done with Manchester City and made them such a success. And with PSG, this huge Qatari money behind PSG. So with the advent of the Live tournament as well on the golf scene, we do see that more and more countries, certainly in the Middle East area, are using their money for influence, investing in sports events, boxing as well into Saudi Arabia, and they invest in these events to add some more credence and more publicity to their own countries.
So, does this mean Qatar have also used the World Cup to improve their own image politically?
And so what it has done is more or less built the country. It's built 8 fantastic stadiums. It's built a new metro system, huge infrastructure in this, and it has changed its laws, its labour laws, consequently because of that. But it still flexes its muscles now on the international scene, largely through what it has been able to do in winning the World Cup bid and then hosting it.
Will people be able to enjoy the football, or will the controversies overshadow the World Cup?
But it's not just sport washing that has been controversial during this World Cup season. The lack of women and LGBTQ rights in Qatar have also become a hot topic amongst fans. We sent Jen Howard out to find a bit more about how Winchester feels about inclusion in football and the 2022 World Cup.
The World Cup is usually an exciting time for fans. Controversy and upset has occurred due to the laws against women and the LGBTQ+ community in Qatar.
Men can look down on me sometimes, and especially when I was in secondary school playing football, you kind of get made fun of. You would be called a lesbian or something like that if you were playing football, and then obviously it would make girls not want to do it. In the past World Cups, like there's a sense of community, but in this one I can't see it, so I was quite disappointed.
As a student union, we made the decision to not promote or air any of the World Cup because we thought it would be better to represent our student body. Obviously it's a really difficult situation to be in as somebody who is part of the LGBTQ+ community. I'm not particularly supporting that event, and we made the decision to really act in line with what students were giving us feedback for. So we've just done the Rainbow Laces campaign, which is tackling homophobia in sport, which a lot of our sports teams got involved in, and we do still see quite a few rainbow laces on the pitch, which is always good to see.
According to FIFA, there are 29 million women and girls playing football worldwide, so it comes as no surprise that there is upset amongst fans about the World Cup being held in Qatar, where there is a lack of women's rights. Jen Howard, Winchester News Online.
Joe Lycett has caused controversy with his Benders Like Beckham campaign as a way to get more people talking about the anti-LGBTQ laws in Qatar. Sinead Cochran has more.
On the 13th of November, comedian Joe Lycett released a video addressed to David Beckham about his hypocrisy of accepting a £10 million deal with the Qatar World Cup, despite his long support of LGBTQ people and being one of the first football players to talk about gay fans.
If you end your relationship with Qatar, I'll donate this 10 grand of my own money, that's £1 for every million you're reportedly getting, to charities that support queer people in football. However, if you do not, at midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder just before the opening ceremony of the World Cup and stream it live on a website I've registered called benderslikebeckham.com. Not just the money, but also your status as a gay icon will be shredded.
After radio silence from Beckham, Lycett stuck to his word and shredded the money live before the opening ceremony on his website, Benders Like Beckham. This stunt caused much controversy online, with people claiming it is shameful, selfish and attention-seeking for Joe Lycett to shred £10,000 during the cost of living crisis. Others have supported and praised him for doing something so uncomfortable and extreme to get people talking. However, yesterday, Lycett released a new video.
I would never destroy real money. I would never be so irresponsible. In fact, the 10 grand had already been donated to LGBTQ+ charities before I even pressed send on the initial tweet last week. I never expected to hear from you. It was an empty threat, designed to get people talking.
Despite this, there is still some support for the World Cup, with Welsh First Minister Mark Drakeford saying that this is a special opportunity to promote Wales and have travelled to Doha to support the team. James Cleverly, Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, has stated that LGBTQ people should compromise and go to the football and be respectful of Qatar.
That's the end of our World Cup special, but there are more big games coming up with England hosting the USA on Friday. Thank you for watching and see you next time.